Thank you for being with me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. This is episode number 121, What Your Family Teaches You. This is a strong principle, and I have shared this in counseling so many times. I shared this with my kids, and I shared this with my grandsons. I share this with people all the time, and honestly, I don't know anyone else who talks about this. So if you know someone, please tell me who it is because I'd love to see what someone else has to say on this topic. I didn't get taught this as a child, and I didn't hear it from someone other than God Himself, but I really believe in this. The family that you were born into is planned for you by God Himself. It really is. He knows where He's putting you. It's very fascinating. Jesus had an earthly family, and God placed him with the exact mother and the exact father that He wanted to raise His own son. And that was no mistake. It wasn't a fluke. The exact genetic makeup of Jesus's life was determined by God Himself in terms of His mother, and His placement in the Jewish community, which was determined by His father, was also something that was established by God. And so your family, your mother, your father, your brothers and sisters, that family is chosen for you by God. He doesn't make mistakes. There aren't any accidents, and He knows what He's doing. Now, I want to describe something to you first. Everything in your family, from your parents to your grandparents, your great-grandparents, for generations back, is influencing you more than you might imagine. Two of our country's presidents are my antecedents, John Adams and John Quincy Adams. My son and I went to Massachusetts, and we went to their houses, and we looked at a lot of things historically, and I've read everything I could ever get my hands on that was written about either of them, and I've read extensively both of their own writings. And let me tell you, it is shocking how much I am like them. It is really crazy how much. And John Adams had 4 boys, and 3 of them were alcoholics. 2 of them literally drank themselves into the grave. I have 9 siblings, and 6 or 7 of them are raging addicts, either drugs or alcohol. And throughout my family tree for generations, it's all right there. You are influenced more than you know by generations before you. It isn't that because someone in your family was an alcoholic, you're going to be one. That's not what I'm saying to you. But there are certain traits that are passed on genetically, just like blue eyes and blonde hair are passed on genetically. Emotional traits, personality traits, and frankly, weaknesses, they are passed on. So it does pay to learn and find out certain things about your family and know where some of their strengths were and some of their weaknesses were. It might help you understand yourself better. But let's go to your core family, your mom, your dad, your brothers, and your sisters. Those people were designed to help you learn how to navigate life. Now, obviously, I had a lot to learn because I have 9 brothers and sisters, and they're not all the same. And pretty much in my family, everyone has a strong personality. There are a couple of more laid back people in my family, but I'm telling you, there were some get down, knock down, drag out kind of fights because everyone has such strong personalities, and nobody in my family is afraid to express their mind or their ideas or even their opinions. And so we really have a strong family. That made me a much stronger person than I might have been if I only had one sibling or if I had been an only child. I definitely know about that. So in your family, we'll say there are 3 of you, okay? And your 2 opposite siblings from you are radically different than you are, which is often the case. This is your very large opportunity in life because you learn that people think differently than you. You learn that people emote differently than you under the exact same situations, and that they react differently than you. And it isn't that they're wrong and you are right, or they are right and you are wrong. It is that people are different. And differences are not bad. Oftentimes, differences are good. Many times, differences make your life fuller and richer. It doesn't mean that differences don't irritate you, bug you, get on your last nerve, make you crazy. That's just really reality, especially when you're a kid or a teenager. The reason that you want this principle embedded into your child's life is this: the skills that you learn in your family are the skills that you take with you into life. So you say to your child, I realize your sister just irritates the life out of you and you want to choke her with your bare hands some days. I get that. And she's standing up on the very last nerve you have and stomping her feet. I get it. But what a great chance for you to learn how to get along with difficult people. What an amazing opportunity for you in a very safe and calm, consistent environment to have the opportunity to grow and develop in your skill set to handle things, to cope, to keep your cool when you're not cool on the inside, to gain self-control, and to learn how to have a productive conversation than one of these yelling matches that people often have. And let me tell you, I know that even in the workplace, people can have yelling matches. And anyway, just what you don't learn in your household goes on with you into adulthood and still continues to cause you trouble. Mom, Dad, pay attention to what I'm saying to you today. These are really valuable skills and lessons that will go with your child throughout his or her lifetime, not just while they're at your house. So I knew a kid as a teenager, his mom had a baby, made him nuts because he has to listen to this baby crying in the middle of the night, and he has to watch this kid learn how to walk and break stuff, and he was less than thrilled about having a baby in the house. And I had this discussion with his family, and his mom said, God has uniquely designed our family, and it is for your good. And so you should learn the lessons that you can learn. Once he started thinking like that, he really had a different attitude toward his brother, and it radically altered his world. And it was the truth. Because he had learned how to work with someone younger and be patient and have a little endurance, because that's what it takes sometimes with toddlers. And it just really did shape him and form him. And he grew up to work with the boys club and be a great mentor to a lot of kids because he had learned those skills within his family. My sons are only a year apart, but they are as different as you can get. I'm talking night and day difference between my sons. Oh, great Scott. So they drove each other nuts perpetually, but by the time they were 6 and 7, they got along pretty famously. They knew this principle. I had told that to them. And I even told them, I said, what's probably going to be funny? Chances are awfully good you're going to marry someone a lot like your brother. What do you know? My son grew up and married someone almost identical to his brother, personality-wise, because opposites attract. I mean, really and truly, it's hysterical sometimes. But the skills that he learned in handling his brother and listening to his brother's point of view, which is polar opposite of his own, really stood him in good stead in his marital relationship because he'd already learned how to listen to someone who didn't think like he thought or didn't feel what he felt or didn't see what he saw. It was great. It's a really good life skill. So here you have your kids, right? And you're trying to teach this to them and like, Mom, you lost your mind. That has nothing to do with God. And I wish I was born into any other family. And I have a sister that always says, I know I was adopted because I'm not like the rest of you people. Which is kind of hysterical because she is, but she just can't see it. Sometimes the older ones of us, we do talk about this one because she just does not really know how much she's like a lot of people in our family. Anyway, your kids might feel out of place. They might have a lot of questions. This sense of belonging, of the interconnectedness of the family, of knowing that there are things here that I need and that I'm going to learn if I'm a conscientious student and that are going to help me for the rest of my life. It's a very foundational part of teaching a child the value, the importance, and honestly, part of the purpose of what their family is for. So, Mom and Dad, I want to say to you, if you've never looked at your family and never saw your own siblings or your mom and dad as an opportunity for you to learn in life, regardless of your age, you can still start to develop this mindset and see what you learned and what you learned that you wish you didn't. Because by accident, everybody learns things in their family they wish they didn't. They learn how to fight dirty rather than how to fight fair. That one I definitely learned in my family. They learn sometimes how to be a doormat if they have really abusive siblings, which I definitely learned, and it took me a long time to unlearn. Or they learn to be really aggressive and be a terrible bad bully, which some of my brothers and at least one of my sisters definitely learned that lesson and needed to unlearn it. I didn't say whether they did or not, but they needed to. Just look at your own family. What did you learn? That was good. What did you learn? That was bad. Make that assessment and then say, and this really requires purpose, intention. Those are things I'm going to change within my own family unit. And I promise you, we've had this discussion before, but I'm going to repeat myself. No matter your age, you are capable of change. It is astounding to me how strong and resilient the human spirit is. If you earnestly recognize that something that you're doing is not a great behavior, is not contributing to the well-being of your own self or your family, you have the opportunity to change that. I would never lie to you and say to you it's a piece of cake. That's a joke. It is hard work to do personal change, but it is most assuredly possible. So when you do that assessment and you go, yeah, this has got to change. I'm not passing this on to my children. And it will require some intention on your part. And you intentionally start working on that area. You can teach it to your children differently. That's awesome. Let me give you an illustration of this. So here's your 15-year-old son and your 12-year-old daughter, and they're having this knockdown, drag-out fight. I mean, they're just at it. Not hitting or beating on each other, but pushing and shoving and throwing stuff around. And they've been doing this their whole lives. Don't worry, I know people that do this very thing. And you say to them, I realize all along this is how it's been, and I've even let you do it. I thought that was normal. That's what happened in my family. But there are a lot better ways to have an argument than this. They might look at you like you lost your mind, but you can tell them, let's sit down and talk. Instead of standing up and ranting and raving, I just want you to sit down. I want to get a hold of your emotions. I want you to just take a minute and breathe. Then we're going to talk. So what are you actually arguing about? What's really going on? It's really comical to me sometimes? They don't even know. Really. I met a girl a couple days ago, and she and I were talking, and I asked her what she thought her biggest problem area was. And she said that she has pointless arguments with her brother and her friends all the time. I said, what do you argue about? And she told me the truth. She goes, I have no idea. You'd be shocked how often that is. In other words, people have a little low level of animosity or anger toward each other. They don't even know what they're arguing about, and they just get into it over the stupidest, littlest, inconsequential thing, and they're just going at it. And they start insulting one another and being rude to each other. That's a whole body of unresolved emotional stuff in them that's just looking for the chance to erupt. So when you sit them down and you say, let's really talk about how you're feeling. And you can say anything about how you're feeling. Feelings are not right or wrong, but you may not be insulting or rude or attack. So you can say, I am furious when you. I am so upset when you. I am truly frustrated when you. But not you are a, no, not allowed. And as soon as that language comes, you say, nope, that's not allowed. That's not a productive conversation. You stick to what's going on with you and how you're feeling and what's going on. That's what you get to talk about. You're literally teaching your children within a safe, secure family environment to have an argument that is productive. They're really being able to clear the air and state what's going on with them. And the other person, hopefully, is going to be able to hear that. And they may or may not change their behavior, but at least they understand the way that their behavior is impacting the people around them. Because teenagers are clueless, and they don't know that. Let's be realistic. A lot of adults are pretty clueless and don't understand what they're doing either. So you're honestly starting to give your kids some skills to work alongside of each other. And amazingly, those skills will translate into a much better life because they can use them with other people. So God meant for you to have the brothers and sisters that you have. He meant for you to have the parents that you have. He meant for you to have the family that you've got. That doesn't mean they're perfect. It doesn't mean they're wonderful, because I know people have abusive, violent, horribly awful family situations. You do not have to explain this to me. I already lived there. I know it quite well. And even then, God knows and God sees. And those very things can make you more perceptive, more compassionate, more gentle, and certainly stronger if you allow those things to be formative for you and formative for your children. I really, really hope that this has been helpful for you today. My challenge question today is, what did I learn from my family of origin? And the second part of that is, and what am I teaching my children in our family today? I hope that this will really, really give you some perspective about things in your life and ways to help your children grow to be a healthier, stronger person. It's been great having you with me today. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.